Hey guys, what's up? It's UniformWarrior, and today we have another ridiculously long paracord video. First off, I just want to go ahead and say that I think after this one video, and with the exception of a few holiday type videos, I'm going to try to stick more to custom bracelets because I think that's what you guys like better, because the likes seem to be better on those and stuff, so I'm trying to take that into account. If you do have an opinion on this, then let me know in the comments. Do you like more stuff like this video, or do you want to see more like original bracelet tutorials? Anyway, so you may have noticed in this video we're actually making a Paracord Christmas present. What possessed me to do this, I have no idea, but it's turned out to be pretty cool if you're willing to spend this much time making something out of paracord. Plus, it takes up a lot of paracord too. So the first thing you're going to do is you're just going to go ahead and get out all your paracord. So we're going to start with the green. So then go ahead and measure out about 120 inches. Here I only measured 60 inches, then 48 inches, so I only measured about 108. But I would do a little bit more than that because, of course, you know, typical to me, I did run out of cord. I would go ahead and recommend measuring about 120. Then you're just going to clip those, and you can go ahead and melt the ends of both of those. Then you're just going to find the center of that cord, and then you're going to measure that out to about a little more than 9 inches. Then you're going to bend those two cords back, and then you're just going to do a regular cobra stitch. So you're going to go ahead and take your left strand, put it over the middle two strands. Take your right strand, put it over that left strand, behind the two middle strands, and up through that left loop. Mark where the bend in the cord is. Now if you don't know how to do a cobra stitch, you're going to want to learn this pretty well, because this whole design is pretty much all just cobra stitches over and over and over again. So now after you tighten this cobra stitch, you're going to want to make sure that it is still 9 inches. As you can see, mine was a little short, so I went and fixed that. Once you make sure it is 9 inches, you're just going to want to start doing the actual cobra stitch. Since there's that green loop on the front top right side there, that means you're going to start with that right side. So you're going to take your right strand, put it over the middle two strands, take your left strand, put it over that strand, behind the two middle strands, and up through the left loop. And then once again, you're going to tighten that. And then you're going to go to the left side, because you can see that little loop on the top left there. So you're going to take the left strand, put it over the middle two strands, take the right strand, put it over that strand, behind the two middle strands, and up through the left loop. And once again, tighten that. Normally when I do cobra stitches, I pull the cobra stitches up to the top, but for this design, you're not going to want them to be that tight. So you're just going to want to pull the cobra stitches tight and away from the pattern, but you're not going to want to pull it all to the top like I normally would. So you're just going to continue alternating sides with the cobra stitch and do that all the way down to the bottom. As you can see, like I said earlier, I ran out of cord, so hopefully you won't do that. All the lengths and measurements of the cord on the first page or anywhere throughout the video will be altered to make sure that you don't run out of cord, so keep that in mind. Then you're going to do one more cobra stitch at the end here. So as you can see here, I'm starting with the right side. So you're going to just pull that right side down through that middle loop and off to the left. And then you're going to pull the left strand up through that middle loop and off to the right. And then you're going to put that now left strand up through that left loop, and the right strand down through that right loop. And then you're just going to want to tighten that, and kind of make sure you tighten it in the middle, and you don't want to tighten it too much, because sometimes you can like kind of mess up the cord if it like stops aligning properly and one side pulls out of the knot, then it can like come apart. It's kind of weird. It's only happened to me once before. I think it was magic. But anyway, so then after that is done, you're just going to want to get some more green paracord, and you're going to get the same measurement of cord that you got last time. You're going to be doing the exact same thing that you just did. So for me this time, I made the right decision, and I got 120 inches of cord instead of 108. So you want to do that. Then you're going to clip that strand, and then you can go ahead and melt those just to keep everything nice. And then you're going to find the center of that cord, and then you're going to measure that cord out to 9 inches about. Well, more like 9.5, because you want it to end up being 9 inches, but the cobra stitch kind of takes up some space. And you want to bend those two cords back towards yourself, then do another cobra stitch. So out of habit, I just always start with the left side here. So you're going to take the left cord, put it over the middle two strands, take the right cord, put it over that strand, behind the two middle strands, and up through that left loop. And also keep in mind, you want to try to do these use the exact same. So we're making another green thing that we just made, the 9-inch green thing that we just made. We're redoing that, so you want it to be the exact same. So if you started with the left cord, then you want to start with the left cord on this. And if you're not sure which cord you started with, just look at the top and compare them, and you'll be able to figure it out. If you don't though, it's not that big of a deal, but it just helps everything align later on. Then once again, you're going to go ahead and do more cobra stitches all the way down to the bottom. So then once you get down to the bottom, we're going to do the same thing we did last time. I actually ended on a different cord that I ended on last time, but that's not a big deal. Anyways, so you're going to take that cord that has that loop at the bottom there. So for me, it's the left strand, and it's going to go down through that middle loop. And then you're going to take the right strand, and it is going to go up through that middle loop. And then you're going to pull that now right strand up through that right loop, and the now left strand down through that left loop. And then you're going to tighten that. Try to make sure the knot part of that, like the thickest part of those two strands going together, try to make sure it stays in the middle of that main loop. Now you have both of those, and you're going to want to do the same exact thing that you just did with those, but with the red strand. So you're just going to want to measure out about 120 inches of that red cord. Like always, I'll have the links down in the description if you want to check out those colors. This color is probably one of my favorite paracord colors or patterns that I've ever gotten. It's from Board Paracord. It's really nice, just the way the light reflects off of this color for some reason just looks really cool. You're going to want to clip the strand there and then go ahead and melt those two ends. Then you're going to want to find the center of that cord and then do the same thing that you did with the green. So you're going to measure out to about 9.5 inches and then bend the two strands back towards yourself and then do a cobra stitch. Then once again, check to make sure that it is 9 inches, and then go ahead and do the rest of the cobra stitches all the way down to the bottom. Once again, once you get down to the bottom, you're going to want to take that strand that has the loop on it there on that side. So for instance, the right strand for me, you're going to pull that down through that loop. You take the other strand, pull it up through that loop, and then take the now right strand and put it down through that right loop, and the now left strand up through that left loop. You're going to want to tighten that. And now you have all of these. So the next step is going to be to attach these all together. So you're going to go ahead and clip all these strands. So here I just go ahead and clip the red strands and then melt them to the cobra stitch. And then you're going to want to go ahead and grab your white cord. So you're going to want to measure out about 120 inches of this, and this should last you most of this whole project. And you're just going to clip it there and then go ahead and gut that string. So you're just going to pull out those 7 white middle strings. And then here I just go ahead and grab a medium-sized fid, so it's smaller than a regular 550 fid and it's a little bit bigger than a microcord fid, but it works perfect for the gutted cord. If you don't have one of these fids, you can just use a larger fid and that'll work. I just find this one is like the perfect size for gutted cord. So you're just going to want to melt the end of the white cord kind of to a point, and then you're just going to want to twist it into the fid. And I know some people like melt the cord and then twist it in, but I don't really find that I have to do that most of the time. So then you're going to grab your first 2 things of cobra stitches, whatever, and then you're going to go ahead and attach them together. So you're going to start with the left green cord, and then you're going to want to pull it up through the back kind of stitch. Here I kind of started out doing it a little bit backwards because I wasn't sure which side I wanted to use, because as you'll notice, it looks different to which side you're using. After you do this first part here like I did, then you can decide which way you want it to go, and then you're going to go across to the red strand and pull it down through that back loop. And then you can just go ahead and flip it around and then go through that one green loop. And throughout the rest of the video, I end up using the front loops, but I just started out using the back loops because that's how I thought it was how I wanted it to look, but it ended up looking a lot better the other way. So like I said, you can decide. So you're just going to want to keep doing that all the way down to the bottom. And then once you get to that last one, you can just go ahead and pull the white cord through there. And you want it to end on the side that you are not going to be using as the front. So like I said, I didn't know that I was going to use the other side, so for me I started and ended on the wrong side. But if you just do the opposite of those, or like at the bottom, you can just put it through one less and then you'll also be fine. Then you're just going to want to cut those white gutted strands and then melt them. And then you're going to add the other green one. So here you're just going to pull the white strand through that back red loop. And then you're going to pull it across and down through that back green loop. And you're going to tighten that. And then you're just going to want to keep doing this all the way down till you get to the end. As you do this, try to make sure that the cord all stays flat and that it doesn't have any twists in it. And then once you get down to the end, once again, you're just going to want to clip both those white strands and cinch those. And then here you can just go ahead and pick which side you're going to use. And then here you're just going to want to go ahead and bend this into a box shape. So here first I kind of bend it the wrong way, and then I go back and then rebend it the other way because I decided I like the other side better. And then you're just going to want to grab more of your green cord, and then you're going to measure out about 48 inches, and then you're going to clip it there. And then you're going to find the center of that strand. Just going to go ahead and measure it against the box thing. This is going to be part of the side. So you're going to measure that out, and then you're just going to go ahead and bend the cord back towards yourself there, and then go ahead and do a cobra stitch. So now here you're going to be making 4 of these green ones. So do 4 of exactly what I'm doing here, and then you're going to do 2 red ones. So once again, for all these, you're just going to measure out about 48 inches of cord, and then you're just going to do the cobra stitches. So now if you notice, like here, I noticed that one of the red cobra's things was a little bit shorter, and so I paired that with the 2 shorter green ones, and then did the same with the longer ones. And then you're just going to go and do what you did earlier with that white cord, and you're just going to connect those all together. And then once you're done with that, you're going to go ahead and connect this side, this panel, to the bottom of the box. So you're going to want to line it up and make sure that it all fits together nicely. So you're just going to want to pull them through the inside loops of the box, and you're going to pull them towards the center of the box. So once you pull all those through, you're going to tighten them, and then you're going to cut them and then singe them. When you do this, you don't want to pull them too tight that the singe is going to come out, but you also want them to be close enough to make it look like a box. So then after you finish singeing those, you're just going to do the same with the other side. So go ahead and take those 3 cobra stitch things and then connect them all together using the white. And then once again, you're going to connect them to the box. So just go ahead and pull all 6 of those strands through those loops towards the middle of the box. And once again, you're just going to want to tighten those and then clip those strands and then singe them. So now you have this weird kind of box shape. And then you're just going to want to go ahead and pick one of those sides and make them align together. And how you want them to align is you want that they will work going in a diagonal pattern, because that's the pattern we're going to be doing with the white. You're going to be using only the outer cords here. So you're going to start with that top outer loop and just pull it through there, and then you're going to go across and down through that outer loop there. And so here I actually start at the bottom, which I would suggest doing, which is a lot easier. So you're going to want to start with that outer loop there, and then just go ahead and pull that in the middle, and then go to the next outer loop. That would be creating a diagonal pattern, and pull that through, and then you're just going to pull it through that next inside loop, and you're just going to keep doing the pattern that we've been doing with the white all along. Once again, make sure the cord isn't twisted. And then once you get to the top of that, you're just going to want to clip that white cord and then melt that. And then you're just going to continue doing that with the rest of the sides of the paracord box. And as you can see, I have one side that is longer than the rest of them by a decent amount. So what you're going to do is you're just going to pull those strands through and undo them until those are all in line with the rest of the cobra stitches. And then you're just going to go ahead and tighten the sides and then clip and melt all the sides of those, and then you're just going to cut those loops off of the top and then melt those. And it really works a lot better than you might think. So if you had this where 1 or 2 of the sides are too long, then just go ahead and undo it. Then you're just going to want to clip all of those and melt all of those. So then here you're going to want to make about a 13 to 14 to 15 inch white cobra stitch that goes all the way around the top here. So I used about, I think it was about 14 feet of cord here, or I might have used a little bit more because as you can see, mine is pretty long there. So I had to clip that and fix it. But you want to use somewhere around that. But then once you get down to the bottom, what you're going to do is you're just going to leave it kind of like it is there. And then you're going to want to undo 1 or 2 cobra stitches to make sure that it fits. And then you're going to clip that middle loop and then melt the ends of those. And you're just going to pull that through the top of the other side of the cobra stitch. And you're going to want to make sure that fits over that present box thing. And then you're going to want to clip both of those and melt both of those. And then you're going to clip the other sides, so all the white cords off of that thing, and then melt those. And then you're going to go ahead and get your green strand. So then you're going to get 2 different strands of 48 inches of green cord. And then here I just use the green cord to measure out the red cord. So I'm going to get 2 things of 48 inches of red cord, and then you're just going to measure it against the top of the present part, and this is going to be the top of the lid. And then you're going to want to do a cobra stitch with all those. Attach all of those together, and then you're going to go ahead and get your white piece and then pull all of those cords just like we did with the sides of the present. You're going to pull all of those cords through the inner part of the lid. And then you're just going to go ahead and clip and melt all of those strands. And you're just going to want to start the white strand in the corner there of where you ended with the melted. And you're just going to weave it all the way around the white to the other side. And then you're going to clip both of those white strands and then melt those. And then you're done. That must be great to hear after about 3 hours of doing this, if not longer. But anyway, I really hope you guys enjoy this video. I thought it'd be a cool idea to put it up on December 1st if I can get it done in time. But hopefully you guys enjoy it. If you want to see more custom designed bracelets and patterns like the American Dream paracord bracelet I have, which is one of my favorites that I made on my channel, which I'll have a link to that somewhere if you guys want to watch that. And then I also have the other one, what is it? The Rocky Road paracord bracelet. That one is also one of my favorites. And so if you guys want to see more things like that, then go ahead and let me know in the comments, because those seem to be more popular than these. So I'm probably going to go back to doing those because I think that's what you guys want to see. But once again, if you have a preference on that, then let me know in the comments, because I will definitely take it into consideration. Also, I just want to add that it is getting close to the end of the year, and my goal for the end of the year, or one of my goals, is to hit 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. So if you guys want to subscribe, that would be awesome. I'd really appreciate it. Or if you guys want to share this video if you're already subscribed, that'd be awesome. But either way, I really hope you guys like it. If you did, make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.